Hi there, Andrew Hemming. I want to look at curls for athletes. And so this is something that I'm just going to show you some basic curl exercises, talk about some common benefits to them, technique issues, things like that. And then we'll spend just a couple minutes talking about why we would do curls with athletes. So one option is the barbell curl, just a good old standard barbell curl. Find it in an athletic context, if you're using this as an accessory exercise, find a comfortable position. Don't feel like you have to go extremely wide or extremely narrow. Both positions will probably bother your wrists and elbows over time. So you want to just be in this position here, nice and upright, and then curling from here. Okay? A good thing to focus on, a tip I learned from Mark Ripperto, focus on kind of driving through with this part of your palm here, and that'll help to isolate the bicep well. A lot of people kind of get overly carried away with technique and they think you have to be completely straight with no movement whatsoever. Don't be afraid to allow a little bit of movement at the hips. Okay? We don't want the spine itself moving back and forth, but a little bit of movement at the hips, although it looks like you're cheating, it actually kind of takes some stress off the elbow joint and makes it much more of a natural real-life movement. Okay? Also, don't be afraid to have the elbows move forward a little bit. One of the bicep functions, secondary function of the long head of the bicep is shoulder flexion, and so it's not necessarily bad to have a little bit of elbow movement. Obviously, if it gets carried away, you're not going to get any bicep, but don't be afraid to have just a gentle amount of movement as long as you're not moving at the low back and it's not irritating anything. Now, the barbell curl is a great exercise in terms of bicep activation, but it is really rough on the wrist. Okay, and so I know a number of coaches who basically have said don't even use it at all. Okay, and so if you feel any wrist pain at all when using the barbell curl, I would not use this exercise, especially in an athletic context. It's not worth damaging your wrists or putting unnecessary strains. Anything wrist and elbow is not a good option. Okay, another potential option is using easy curl bar. Okay, and so this bar has these funky little curls to it. And you can basically do the same technique with this, okay? Just a gentle little bit of body sway as you're coming up and down, okay? Also, just to make a note here, we don't want to go completely straight at the bottom, okay? We still don't want to have like an excessively short range of motion, but going completely straight can put unnecessary stress on the elbow. With the easy curl bar, what you noticed it was doing is it took my hands from a fully supinated position and allowed some amount of pronation, okay? The pro with this is that it's going to take a lot of wrist stress off, and so this is an option that for some people who experience wrist pain in the barbell curl, they can do easy curls and they're good to go. It can, however, bother the wrist. It is more gentle on the wrist. Okay? Some people said, and there's kind of conflicting opinions on this, and even some conflicting EMG research, that you're not going to hit the bicep as well with easy curl because you've gone out of that pure supination position into some pronation. Okay? Which, in the context of athletes where we're not overly concerned about bicep training, it's not that big of a deal. So don't worry too much about that if it's a pain-free way to curl for you. Okay? Another option is dumbbells. Okay? And the dumbbells are very nice in the sense that you have total freedom of the wrist. You can do these 2 at a time. Okay? In this position here, some people like to do them 1 at a time. This is nice in the sense that you can kind of focus on 1 at a time, have a little bit of a rest at the bottom, so it becomes kind of a rest pause type exercise. But what you'll find with that is it just takes a little bit more time. Okay? The dumbbells also give the option of actually doing wrist supination, so I can start in a neutral position here and then I can supinate the wrists as I'm coming up from there. And so that can be an option as well. And it's nice because you can find kind of a pain-free range of motion. Okay? So there's endless opportunities. If you open any muscle magazine, you can learn 64 different ways to do a curl. And there's lots of options there. Bottom line is that for an athlete, this is going to be a minor accessory. Okay, I know some coaches that are like, this is not functional, don't use it at all. We use curls in our program for 3 reasons. One, having the elbow strong can help as an assistance exercise for some of the pulling things we do, like chin-ups and things like that. Also in an athletic context, when we're doing a lot of pressing movements, they have the risk of developing an imbalance at the elbow, where we have a stronger tricep than a bicep, and that can lead to elbow instability. And so curls can be used to help maintain structural balance at the elbow joint. Okay? As we mentioned earlier, the shoulder, the long head of the bicep, acts on the shoulder joint a little bit and can actually be used as a shoulder stabilizer. And so it does have that role as well. From a psychological standpoint, if an athlete is a strong, powerful, skilled athlete, and they have well-developed arms, that can actually act as a psychological intimidator to the opponents, and so it does play that role as well. The other kind of benefit with curls is that they're enjoyable, and a lot of people enjoy doing them. Okay? And so I think that's really cool. If we are doing a lot of really hard, not so much fun exercises like heavy squats and deadlifts and explosive stuff, it can be fun to have a little break and do a little bit of beach work that still can have some benefit. The trick is, as an athlete, if you're using this, is number one, don't sacrifice other more important strength, speed, power exercises for doing direct arm work. And if you are doing them, make them a small part, do them at the end of your session and have some fun, but don't let them detract from either recovering or from the time needed to work on other things. Enjoy.